Today, Canada remembers. Humber News starts now.
Hello, it's Friday, November 11th. Welcome to Humber News, coming to you from the Broadcast Center here at the North Campus. I'm Tom Kituku. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Lindsay Tuji. Remembrance Day ceremonies were held across the country as Canadians paused to remember the men and women who sacrificed their lives for the freedom we enjoy today. In Ottawa, thousands gathered on Parliament Hill to pay tribute to veterans, young and old.
Fire!
The crackle of a three-gun salute was followed by a moment of silence to honor veterans at the National War Memorial and around the country. This year marks only the second time that there were no surviving veterans from World War I. Several Griffin helicopters and CF-18 fighter jets flew over Parliament Hill as a show of respect to the new generation of Canadian veterans who served in the Afghan War. It's estimated that 100,000 Canadian soldiers have died in conflicts around the world since 1899. Their sacrifice was honored by dignitaries including Prime Minister Stephen Harper, along with Governor General David Johnston.
Here at Humber, students and faculty participated in their own ceremony on campus. Humber reporter Caitlin DeCarey was there.
Hundreds of people gathered at the Central Concourse at Humber College's North Campus to pay their respects for Canada's veterans.
Paying tribute to those who fought for Canada's freedom, remembering the sacrifices of those who never got to enjoy those freedoms.
If ye break faith with us who died, we shall not sleep. The poppies grow in Flanders fields.
All generations were present to say what Remembrance Day means to them.
And I appreciate all that the young men and women are doing for the country today.
Obviously, on behalf of me and my entire family back at home, we say thank you so much for what you've done.
It's a very important day for me and a day to stop and remember how fortunate we are.
It means remembering the people and not what they're fighting for. So our brothers, our sisters, our fathers, mothers. So just remembering them, not the war.
Remembrance Day means honoring the sacrifices of the freedom that I walk in every day.
Ceremonies across Canada observed a moment of silence. Remembrance Day coincides with the exact date and time that the guns fell silent in World War I. Caitlin DeCarey, Humber News.
Things got heated up at Occupy Toronto last night. One man was arrested for allegedly throwing hot soup in someone's face just outside St. James Park. The victim was taken to hospital with minor injuries. There was no word on charges. Meanwhile, business owners and residents met with protesters near the park to discuss their complaints about noise levels, safety concerns, and loss of business. Mayor Rob Ford has said the protests can't last forever, but has provided no detailed plans for evicting the occupiers.
A 29-year-old Toronto man has been charged with threatening to shoot a TTC worker in the face. The employee says he found the man smoking in Finch Station and asked him to bat out. Turns out the man was in breach of probation. He's been convicted of uttering a death threat and will be in jail for 45 days. TTC spokesperson Brad Ross says incidents of assault against TTC workers ranging from death threats to punches occur about twice a day.
There's still no end in sight for the York Region transit strike. The provincial Liberals are rejecting calls to pass back-to-work legislation for striking YRT bus drivers. The strike will be heading into its third week on Monday, and 70,000 commuters are still being affected. Labour Minister Linda Jeffrey told the Toronto Star they are urging YRT and the union to return to the bargaining table as soon as possible. Jeffrey is also offering the assistance of provincial mediators.
Provincial police had to do a double take after a couple of strange traffic incidents this week. First, police say they stopped a car going 200 kilometers an hour on Highway 401 in Chatham. The OPP say the driver identified himself as a police officer from the United States. Then on Wednesday, police pulled over a man on the same stretch of road for talking on a cell phone. Investigators say it was the same driver involved in the first incident. The man now faces charges that include driving while under suspension, using a cell phone and impersonating an officer.
A Toronto man faces charges after another showdown between a cyclist and a motorist. A woman riding her bike along Ossington Avenue was struck by an angry driver. The two got into an argument after he swerved into oncoming lanes to pass her. Police say the man forced the cyclist onto the sidewalk before hitting her with his car and speeding off. 38-year-old Matthew Nettleton has been charged with assault with a weapon, failure to stop after an accident, and dangerous operation of a vehicle.
The OPP have one person in custody following a murder in Caledon. The victim was found stabbed to death at the Gore and Healy Roads just north of Brampton. The name of the victim is not being released until the next of kin is notified. A suspect is in custody and has been taken to hospital with minor injuries.
When we come back, we'll have more news from around the country and the world. Matt LaRue will have our sports, and we'll have your weather forecast with Colin Ellis.
Oh, the weather outside is weather. Well, it's another cold one, all right. At least it's not as bad as it is in snowy Barrie. I'll be right back with your 5-day weather forecast.